toilets, worked with the health department to create more beautiful standards, and on and on. I also managed the owner's household, paying bills, coordinating contractors, etc. When I realized I could manage all of this in 3 long days rather than a whole week, I knew I could be of service to other small business owners. It started with just me and through word of mouth, so I had a couple of assistants, and I'm entering year 6 now. I should ask, has anyone ever thought you should be further along than where you are? Like, further along towards a goal, financially, married, in your business, just further along. And I thought I would be further along right now, except my life had a little detour. And this came in the form of that 104-car pileup on I-25, March 1st of 2014. So I experienced 4 cervical disc extrusions, which I should explain is when the disc comes out, the sac tears, and the insides come out. Ouch. And I say this because it's easier to understand someone when you know what they've been through. It's easier to connect the dots, so to speak, when we're brave enough to be vulnerable. So I actually experienced that lesson a few months before this car accident, when I escaped from an abusive relationship in a life-changing tale. But opening up, being vulnerable, accepting help from others for the first time, it created more whole and wholesome friendships. So I'm hurt in this car accident, and being single, self-employed, I'd quit the tattoo shop at this point. I still had to pay my bills, and I only had 2 personal assistants at the time out working. And then I had allowed my ex to drain my bank accounts, run up my credit cards, I bought him a Jaguar, and now I'm too injured to work. I've been to the emergency room 3 times in the first month. So what does that mean? Well, to me, it meant there was no money coming in. So, I was going to 13 doctor's appointments a week. I was sleeping 2 hours a day due to pain. And what does that mean? Well, for me, that meant I got a lot done. I got a lot done. A couple of my attorney clients asked me to start an insurance agency for them. And part of that was getting licensed in property casualty. Then I was trained in commercial insurance by the president of Safeco Travelers, Rex Hickley. So the money was great, and then I went to a friend to ask what I should do with this money that I'm getting from this settlement, because I need this money to make me money, and I needed to have a plan. So I talked to a few different people, went with Transamerica, great company, the best company I've interviewed around. And when I got in there, they said, well, if you already have your property casualty license, if you get your life and health license, you can get paid if you can help on your clients. So I already knew this was a great company, so I'm like, sign me up. And I heard everything can either be a blessing or a curse, and that's what this time in my life was. It was both. So I heard someone say once that millionaires typically have 7 income streams, and now I know why. It's in case one of them falls through, or 2. So now I'm life and health certified. So that brings my whole life and business life up till pretty much this point. And I'll take it back to December of this past year when everything changed. I was still at 7/8 9 pain-wise almost 3 years later when Marcy sent me a referral from Deborah Simon, who needed an assistant. She's an energetic healer who could intuitively tell with me over our initial phone call that I'd been through some trauma. She invited me to a free group class where I felt such a difference that I signed up to start seeing her individually. I started seeing her at the end of October, twice a month, and she told me that she isn't healing me, Jesus Christ is healing me through her. So I continued seeing her, and after my second session in December, something happened. I felt the presence of God, and I was healed. So my pain levels went down, and down for longer and longer between days. Now it's March, I feel great. I'm almost pain-free most days. And 2 surgeons right before that told me that I would need a 4-disc cervical fusion and that I wasn't going to get better unless I had the surgery. And no, I'm healed. So, Deborah is a blessing, and I would recommend anyone to her. Yeah. So, I feel like since that day, there's been like a tractor beam between God and I. Specifically like through Jesus and Christianity. So, that's how I got here. And it makes it very simple to say where I'm going. I was challenged by my mentor, Chris Felton at Transamerica, to know so clearly where I wanted to go that I could tell him in 5 seconds. So, I don't know if anyone wants to time this, but I decided last night, I want to praise God in such a glorious way that others feel the love of God has poured into me and it's overflowing into them. And by using the gifts that God has given me to act as His personal assistant. So, what does that mean? Well, I guess it means I'll be using my God-given talents, abilities, characteristics, experience, and knowledge to praise the greatness of God and to testify to others about my experience and support others. So I'll just continue volunteering around Colorado, expanding my volunteer work to other states though, and I want to go on my first missionary trip this year. Expanding active lifestyle management while I'm here and while I'm away, and opening my own insurance agency this year. So I recently surrendered my life and dreams to God as a living sacrifice. So now, I honestly have no idea what my life is going to look like anymore at this point. Because I learned life is what's happening when you're making other plans. I get that. I get that. So I'm going to pass these around. Bless you. Okay, so these are the questions that I would go through for a double your time planning session. So in that first quote, I know who I am, I know where I'm going, I know what's important. Who am I? I would really sit down and take the time to answer that. I mean, at least as much time as it would take to watch a movie, because are you going to watch someone else, what they created, or are you going to spend some time and create your own life? So, and I would encourage you to go back and see where you're at now. So I am, fill in the blank. And then I've learned that creating an I am affirmation is very powerful, and saying it as much as you can. So for me, I am a humble, wise, compassionate ambassador of God, boldly living a life of liberty now. So, and then ask yourself, what's most important for your time here? What brings you the most joy? Because that's what you need to do more. You time block it in. It's the only way it's going to happen. So, what talents and passions are you going to use? What gifts has God given you? What's God's purpose for you? Like, you're part of something ineffable. Dream big, and then dream bigger than that. So, what would that look like? Well, for me, it looks like what I told you earlier, like, I don't know, maybe traveling around in a motorhome and helping people, I don't know. I'm still getting clear on that, I just know I want to help. And so now, what do you have to do to get there? So once you have a picture of what it looks like, what do you have to do to get there? That's your to-do list. Get started on it. And then have a list of what God could do or provide, because it will show up. So, and then what can you delegate to make time to make this happen? This is going to take time. So what are you doing most? What do you hate doing most? Can you delegate it to someone? What are taking up time? Can you delegate it to someone? Here's some options. Friends, family, they're happy to help, right? They don't even charge you. So, best friends, like best friends, your closest 3. Some people have kids that they can enroll to help them. People on Fiverr, if that makes sense. like the first thing I did was hire a dog walker because it's like, that was breaking up my whole day. And that was a small investment, changed my whole week though. So just think about how can you do this? And then make it happen. And then so an action plan, how do you do this? Well, first you need to time block planning for an assistant. Pretty much you need to plan, because it doesn't work if you just jump in usually. Plan to plan, and then during the actual planning session, figure out, okay, now you know what you need done, you know who you have that can help you, just line them up and ask them to help you. Be clear on when would this be, what would it look like, so you can explain it to them. We're always here, call us. And then, well, I think that's it.
You're coming up almost on 15
All
minutes,
right.
so I'm thinking maybe
That's
take
it.
a few, 2 or 3 minutes for questions. Actually, I have a question.
Is there any assistance? Oh, wait, the most important thing, I am hiring, because in this business, people take my assistants over full time. And like, I'm filling in sometimes, and I need to rest a little. And so if you know anyone who would like a job as a personal or administrative assistant, please send them my way. Please, please,
I
please.
do have a question, because my daughter may, not be a candidate
Yeah.
for you. In the area, she's very good with data entry, she does proofreading, the business side of it, she's not bookkeeping or anything. Do you have a minimum amount of time people have to commit per
No.
week?
No.
Really? Because that, I think that's, so you pay for hers? Is
No,
something-
not at all.
Thank you.
All these people are different. They're all independent contractors, so they work when they want to work. A lot of them though will have regular clients that they see on regular days.
Right.
And then if they're willing to take on more, it expands. If they're not willing to take on more, I put in a second personal assistant. Sometimes people can have 3.
I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So do you have somebody that would do like QuickBooks, just bookkeeping?
Yep.
Just basic?
Yep. Rebecca in the center.
What about location for these folks? Are they around?
They're honestly all around the Denver metro area. Carissa's up in Thornton. A couple are one's in Highlands Ranch, Littleton, so really all over.
Is there a trip
I'm
charge?
willing to travel.
I'm thinking I don't want to do my own books. I
They
can do it, I just don't know if I
generally
want
go to the
to.
home.
I'm gonna tell you, for running 2 businesses, don't.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Hire someone to do
I think I'll do it for the first month to get myself set up. I'm really fast, like I used to do it for a living, but in the end, once I'm getting a lot of stuff, I don't want to do it.
Just
Do
because
you
you don't
ever
want to,
have
that's a good
projects,
reason.
excuse me, people can do virtually? So, as opposed to her going to a particular place?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It always just depends on the client, and sometimes it's a project, sometimes it grows into more.
Right.
However, usually like when the right person shows up, the job shows up that they can help with,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Okay.
So.
That's good to know.
mhm.
Is there a minimum rate?
No, what makes me different than my competition, when I first opened this business, everyone had weekly minimums. And I just didn't want to do that. I thought, like, if I go out, because it was just me, if I go out there and do a good job, I've already experienced it. You have more to do, not less. They want you to take over for them. So, no, never.
I think maybe we should wrap it up to make sure. we
Thank
can-
you.
Awesome.